Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Poll, the show where we talk about the comics that came out this week. Joining me today is, of course, Benny, the Comicstorian, Rob from Comics Explained, Joel from Cape Joel, and Caitlin from That Sea Monster. I'm Tiffany from Comic Pop. Let's get right into today's comics. Actually, Rob, you're up first. We're going to be talking about Justice League number 14. Tell us about it, man.
Justice League number 14 is everything that's right with comics. Dude, it's fun. No, literally. Okay, no, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I was going through, like I sent an email off and I had to grab a few images, and one of them was Alex Ross's depiction of the Justice Society. Justice League number 14 is a throwback to that. It's like a story about a time when superheroes walked a little bit taller, their moral compass wasn't as murky. It's a feel-good story. You know, it comes out of Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and it's like, hey, that story was not dark, but for those of you guys who are picking up with Justice League after Justice League versus Suicide Squad, if that's the story that brought you in, here's what the Justice League is about. They'll save us at the end of the day. And I love that. I love that idea. I love that notion of what they're doing with it, because it's just a feel-good story. It's a one-shot, basically. It's like no matter what happens, the Justice League is always going to be there to save us. And it's cool, which is actually, this is a pretty great story compared to a lot of what we've gotten so far when it comes to everything else, which I love,
So for those of us who dropped Justice League from their pull list overall because it was just really, really lackluster, would you say this is would this be good? Yeah. Can I jump in again and not
this has disappointed? This has if you guys ever read like Grant Morrison's JLA, like the kind of feeling you got where it's like we finally have the gang back together, like that is how the story comes. At least that's how it came off to me anyway. So
very nice. Sounds cool. You know what? We haven't heard a lot of love about Justice League lately, so it's kind of interesting to hear it coming back up again.
Well,
so
you've heard a lot of love from me. You haven't heard a lot of love from anybody.
Even you. I was like, Rob, Justice League's really lackluster. And you're like, no, it's really good. And then he goes and reads the issue, and he's like, all right, kind of sucked.
right now, but now Rob's feeling it again. So there you go. Maybe we'll be hearing more about that as we go. All right, Benny, Batman number 16. What's going on, man?
Hold on, I don't remember what happened in this one. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the introduction of Bane. Bane coming back to get his revenge. And I don't even care about Bane. The funniest thing ever is when he went to the Bat Burger place.
Yep. Oh, dude, I love that.
And I love Jokerize your fries.
Yeah, I loved the little nerd being like, "You want to Jokerize your fries?" And he's like, "The Joker is a killer, and he's evil, and he's going to mess you up, and you want to." And he's like, "Well, it's like a seasoning."
I just work here, man.
Dude, and then you see over at the table. You see over at the table, Red Hood. Man, I love Jokerizing my fries.
He killed you with a crowbar, man.
And he says even after the crowbar thing, I love to Jokerize my fries, and I was like.
And then then there's the best scene ever where Damien's opening up the kids' meal and he's like, "Why did you get this for me? I better not get a Red Hood toy again." And he pulls out a Red Hood toy.
And it's the crappy DCU costume with the red hoodie.
And when Jason was like, "I'll take your toy if you don't want it," and Damien goes, "No, I'll take the toy."
Yeah, I love that. It's like the toy is mine.
And then the best moment ever, because my wife eats her burgers like this. He sits down with the burger at the fast food place, gets the fork and knife out, and I love how Duke's like, "Really? This is happening?"
No.
And he just fork and knifed it, and then everyone's making fun of him, and Bruce is like, "That's enough! None of you fight the villain today," and he walks away.
No, dude,
you can all take a vacation. I'm like,
I think it was Jason Todd's response.
What was
I love Jason Todd's response. He was like, it was Jason Todd or Dick Grayson or somebody. They're like, "You haven't seen that yet?" It's like that's his thing.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
We lived with him.
Yeah.
I love Jason Todd. That entire exchange was just the best. I'm like, way to be best boy, Jason. I cannot wait for your Bishojo figurine.
I know.
He is so good in this book. I forget that, in the hands of a good writer, I can actually really enjoy Jason Todd.
Red Hood has actually been pretty good.
Yeah, the Red Hood book's been amazing. Trinity. But we'll go to that when it comes back up. Anyway, Batman's amazing. My only complaint, and for the record, if you want to jump in now, this is a great place to jump in. It really is. My only complaint is the "oh my god" cliffhanger. We all know that's not what actually happened.
Such a fake out.
Yeah.
It's such a blatantly obvious fake out, too. Like, you're like, nah, there's no way that's what's going to happen.
Close.
Hold on, what was a cliffhanger? I don't remember.
It was, there were bodies that were dressed up like the Robin.
Basically, they had bodies.
That's
three
right.
bodies
Yeah, it
that
was
looked like
Red Hood, Dick Grayson.
one looked like Damien, one looked like Nightwing, one looked like Jason Todd, and they were hung. But the faces were obviously shattered out and everything. So you're like, well, it's not them. He just got boots that looked like them.
Another tiny issue with this one, and I'm sure you will agree. What the hell is Tom King doing with Catwoman after 2 issues of, oh, I'm leaving now, never to return? I'm back already. I didn't get
that one either.
He keeps shoehorning Catwoman into everything. Like, I swear to God, she's relevant and really hot. And I'm like, no. I mean, she's really hot, but she's not really relevant.
Well, no.
Beyond that, really like
okay, I kind of agree with her being back for the sake of this, okay? Because it's giving Bane more of an objective than just, I need to get revenge. Because Catwoman is the one that pretty much flipped the bitch on him back in the I Am Suicide arc, you know? Yeah. And now we had a 2-issue arc where Batman and Catwoman got really close. And even in this one, we proved it by him letting Catwoman run off from Commissioner Gordon. So I am assuming what we're setting up for is the inevitable death or disappearance of Catwoman so that Bruce has to deal with that.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool because I got to tell you, like, after I Am Suicide, you guys were pretty mixed on how you felt about that arc, how you felt about what was going on with Catwoman. So it's kind of cool to see everybody kind of excited for this. And you kind of convinced me that I'm probably going to go and pick this one up because I was just like, I'm just going to wait and see what King's doing with this.
If you don't read the full arc, just read the first half. So you can see the Matt Burger situation.
It's
all right. That
really
situation
well done.
was great. So, I Am Suicide was just so bland. It was just like...
It wasn't written like a comic book. It was written like a narrative story, which translated weird.
So from DC, we're actually going to make a shift on over to Marvel for Bullseye #1. Joel, what do you know about that?
Wait, hold on. We have a splooge, Rob.
Storm King 007 splooge.
So I was totally stoked for Bullseye, especially after last week when I gushed and gave a heartfelt review of the last issue of Daredevil. I was so ready for this, and I gotta say I left a little disappointed from this one. This is a Bullseye unlike any we've ever really seen before. Mainly, he won't shut the hell up. It's like they took a Joker script and put Bullseye, and I'm like, Bullseye doesn't talk this much. He really doesn't. And it's not even like internal monologue. Like, he just has verbal diarrhea the whole time. And even like his big, like, ooh, I'm evil, look at me, I'm killing people with paper clips. And I'm like, why though? He has no rhyme or reason for what he does, and the setup couldn't be more boilerplate. He needs to go to Colombia to fight the cartel, because that's a dangerous part of the world, and we can do lots of stuff there, can't we? And that's about it. It's not great.
Was the Bullseye paperclip thing a throwback to the movie?
He looks kind of like that.
Yeah, like, and that was a bad movie, because I'm like, why you got to remind me of that bad movie?
Okay, here's my question. To go with our argument from before that every book's has been written for somebody, who asked for the Bullseye and who is it written for?
I would like a good one, because here's the thing. Yeah. There's a ton of amazing villain comics right now. Thanos, Deathstroke, Carnage, even the new Captain America, honestly, is a book about a villain.
Oh, no, Captain America is really good.
They could have done this really well, but they don't learn the lessons that those other ones have. Bullseye is not, he's honestly not cruel enough. He's cartoonishly cruel. He's cartoonishly villainy to where he's not believable as a person. There's other people in the book, but the focus is very much on him, and it's weird to have the focus be on him when he's being, so, again, cartoony. They really don't learn a lot of lessons from any of these other villain-focused books as of recently, and that's unfortunate.
Interesting. So, Joel, it kind of sounds like you're telling us that Bullseye missed the mark this week.
Up top.
It did. Yeah. I'll give issue 2 a try, but I'm not excited for it. It is not an ongoing. It's a mini, but it's like a pretty long mini. It's like a 7-issue mini.
All right. So why don't we move over to something that I know that someone here really liked this week? Deadpool or Harley Quinn #13. Caitlin.
Yay!
Hold on, let me hang up on Caitlin.
What the hell, Benny?
Are you serious, you asshole? Why would you do that?
He actually did it.
Benny, you are
Benjamin J. Comicstorian. You mother trucker. I am coming for you. You think you're safe behind your mountains and in your snow cave out in Colorado, but you are not. I'm going to be under your bed tonight, and I'm gonna be pulling some shit.
All right, Betty's in trouble. But hang on. Let's channel all this into Harley Quinn. Number 13. What happened? What's going on with Harley? Channel it in. I'm
just trying to eat my rage right now. It's so difficult.
Just use it. Turn it into love.
Don't squid 11. Don't squid 11.
Goddamn psychopath. Okay.
So here's what happened in Harley Quinn, and here's why it's amazing.
No, what happened in Harley Quinn was it was fucking lit, Benjamin. That's what it was. All right? It was amazing. And even though we didn't get our 3 Joker theory revealed, we still got a little bit of that freaking puzzle piece that nobody's talked about since the beginning of DC Rebirth. Like, why has the Joker thing not come up until now? I get so mad about that still. And Harley number 13 made me a little bit mad about it. But she's beaten the ever-loving snot out of this particular Joker. We find out that this Joker is not Harley's Joker after a very delicious torture session that involved honey, parakeets, shaved skin, and vodka, and culminated into him being tied up in an electric chair with her and her friends doing a little kiki and being like, girl, spill that tea. What Joker are you? And we find out that this Joker is Edwin from New 52, who kidnapped Harley and put him in her little otaku waifu shrine in a bird cage and had her eat pizza for the whole issue while he talked about his psychotic problems.
Oh, that guy.
I
remember that.
Yeah,
I will say, I just want to say the way she resolved it.
Arkham, Benjamin. Edwin goes to Arkham, all right? And he intercepts a package from the Joker. He opens it up. He's like, yo, I can find the Joker by looking at this forwarding address or whatever. And so he starts getting into a friendship pen pal thing with the Joker, and the Joker's like, you want to become me and win Harley? Here's how you become me and win Harley.
Damn.
And my theory is that what we're seeing in this issue of Harley Quinn Rebirth is we are seeing the process of how a Joker is created. So we have the 3 Jokers, but I think we're operating under a legacy title. And I think what it went through was the process that you need to go through to become one of the Jokers and to carry on that legacy. We don't know how long this legacy has been going on. We don't know in total how many Jokers there actually are, but there is one original, possibly Harley's in Arkham, possibly not. And they indoctrinate others to become the Joker. And I think that was the big, it could be a red herring, could not be, but I think that was the big hint that we got in regards to the 3 Jokers and Harley number 13, and it ends when she shoots him in the face.
All right. So there you go. Benny, you got a couple of seconds. Anything you want to add to that?
She said everything, so it's fine.
Awesome.
The only thing I do want to say is I don't think it's going to have anything to do with the 3 Jokers, and that's just because, and actually, I mean, I think it would be a great theory. The only reason I don't think it does is because Amanda Conner seems to be completely oblivious to the rest of DC right now. Like, she's just doing her own thing.
All right.
That's what she did with New 52, but I have a feeling that at some point they are going to want to tie in Harley to the rest of DC Rebirth, which is why they haven't really been messing with the continuity as much in her DC Rebirth series as they have in her New 52. And I think that's because at some point they're going to pull her in. That's just what I think.
Well, I thought they had already kind of pulled her in as the Suicide Squad. She's there, but it's not that Harley. It's like, that's the more serious Harley that kills people.
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
God damn. One day I'm going to find out where she is in continuity.
So equaling this passion for a character, we're going to go over to Deadpool number 26 with Benny. Benny, what's going on with Deadpool?
Deadpool's currently still fighting Madcap, and it's still amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, so if you haven't been following what's been going on, they started out the series where he made the Mercs for money, as they ended up being called. On that team was Madcap. That was great. And then eventually we found out Madcap was actually the second voice in his head who had been merged into there. And because he was in Deadpool's head for so long, he went basically crazy. And then he broke out and became like an actual true nemesis to Deadpool finally. And
who's just as immortal and just as crazy.
Yeah. And he's been messing with Deadpool up until now. And basically, this is kind of like a filler issue where they're just kind of like, he's still here. We're still fighting him. But it's good if you're following the arc. But if you're not following it, not really a good place to start. I have a feeling the next issue is going to be like a new arc, and that'll be where we start.
And it's a Valentine's Day issue, too, that seeks to sort of set up Till Death as they're having the friction between Deadpool and his monster wife, who's been threatening to go evil for, since before Secret Wars.
Well, that's what happens when you're a monster wife, I guess. I don't know.
And when you're married to Deadpool, I like that, too. It's all Deadpool's fault.
Yeah. So, Benny, you're a fan of it, though, but you're saying maybe not the best time to jump on. But if you wanted to, go back, pick up the rest of them. Good arc so far?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like a filler middle of ground issue. The arc ended technically last issue.
Okay.
So I think the next issue is the next arc because it ends with one of those the end question marks.
All right, gotcha. Very cool. All right, Rob, we haven't heard from you in a while, so why don't we go and talk about Superman number 16?
Nobody tell Rob he's muted.
No, he's not. He's just smiling. He's taking it all in. He's thinking about it.
Superman.
Rob, you realize you're on a time limit. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I know, dude. Okay, so this and actually Multiplicity was like that. Like it's like we start and we're done. Like it's super quick. I mean, it's obviously all leading up to Superman Reborn. I feel like with this, it couldn't hurt to read Multiplicity or Multiversity, to be honest. Multiplicity is really fun, but it feels like it couldn't hurt to read Multiversity just because of like the Flash, whichever one I can't remember which one that is. Red Racer. There we go. President Superman, that kind of stuff. It's super good. I love the idea because like they're basically kind of exploring the multiverse to a degree. They're going to flesh it out a little bit more. But the idea, at least it was for an instant, was that like Superman was depowered. The only issue I have with this is that the story went by super fast. It's like all the Supermen lost their powers, and then they have them back, and it's just like, okay, well, like what the hell was the point of that? Like it's just kind of a throwaway situation. It feels like it was just an excuse to kind of have Superman meet all the other Supermen in the multiverse. I think it could have been handled a little bit better, but. That being said, it's clearly setting up for something, and I absolutely love what they did in this story. It's pretty solid.
Did you catch this, that when all the Supermen got their powers back from our Superman, they glowed with a blue light?
I did not. Actually, I did not catch that. That's a really good catch.
They glow with a blue light, and again, to give credit to my other podcast friend, Matt, he's been running with this theory forever that the Superman we're dealing with is actually blue electric Superman, and New 52 was red electric Superman, and by the end of Reborn, they will fuse together into one prime Superman.
Well, that actually makes perfect sense when you think about Superwoman. Basically, red electric Superman.
Okay, I'm just gonna say right here, I think that entire electric blue and red Superman's a stupid theory that only Joel would think up. I know other people thought about it, but I think it's dumb.
Well, technically, my friend thought of it. I just liked it.
When you said blue, I thought you were going Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan's. I've seen blue, and they're all like, "Oh, it's electric Superman." You mean the worst fucking version of Superman ever? They're gonna bring back? Pretty sure that wasn't the intention of Rebirth. Pretty sure that's Manhattan.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Explain why there was two and why that Superman is not on the registry. Because notice we haven't seen red or blue electric Superman, even though they were grabbing them from all over time and all over the multiverse.
Because they were so bad, DC ignores it.
Okay.
I agree with Benny.
Okay, Joel, let me ask you this, man.
Sorry.
Yes.
Like, were you hoping at some point in the story that you would see Superboy Prime? Because I was.
Yeah, definitely.
I was so hoping we would see him. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a story that kind of runs through pretty fast. I mean, Multiplicity, 3 issues, 3 issues, something like that. It rolls through really, really, really quick. The real takeaway from this, though, seems to be that Superman was kind of, like, our Superman was kind of teaching the other Superman about, like, hope. You know, like, there will always be so, as long as there's hope, hope is an idea, and ideas can't be destroyed. And so it was kind of like, you know, I don't know if you guys stand for the same thing I do, but here's what I stand for. So it's kind of like DC solidifying, this is like the Superman, where all the other ones are like a version of Superman. So
and we get more Oz too.
Yeah.
I also liked how they drew in Kenan too, or Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan Kong. That was cool.
Yeah, I like how that tied in. So it's like, just so you know, this isn't just some weird random thing. He's part of DC Rebirth 2.
Yeah.
Like A+.
Wish we could have met under better circumstances, kid.
Well, all right, so there you go. So if you guys haven't been reading Superman, go back at the rest of this arc. It's only a few issues, like Rob said. Sounds like a really awesome read. But it sounds like you could also just start next month, too, because they'll be starting a new thing. So overall, Superman's been good. You guys have been pretty psyched about it. So it looks like it's continuing the trend.
I need to interject one thing, even though I didn't read that, just so everyone knows. Joel, you're dumb. That theory's dumb. You're dumb. Shut up, Joel. All right, I'm good.
Hey, man. When it happens.
Shut up, Joel. Shut up, Joel.
When it happens,
you're dumb. Shut up, Joel.
See,
our team hoodie is going to be just all shut up, Joel.
Maybe. And I gotta say, shutting Joel up is gonna make this really super awkward because the next book we're talking about is Champions #5. Joel, you're taking point on this one.
Yeah, this book has kind of been a hot topic today
no, you can't.
amongst
Hang
us.
on. No rants right now.
You will have your turn.
We will have a rant. We're gonna close the show out, and then we can talk a little more in depthly about the cultural and societal significance and the comic book significance of what's happening in Champions. But right now, let's just talk about what happened in the book this week.
I'm sending Tiff a Mother's Day gift for being our den mother and being so awesome.
Yes, indeed. So this story finds the Champions going to Daly County, which made me laugh because that's my last name and they spell it exactly the same way. And then you find out how messed up this county is, and I'm like, damn, I don't think it's cool now this place is named after me. There's a lot of hard shit going on there that the Champions get themselves drawn into, and you know what? They all learn some lessons and they have some fun. No, they don't actually. They have no fun times in this. This was a very serious, pulled from the headlines type of issue that it was. And I think they handled it well. My co-hosts do not think as much, but hey, that's just me. I dig it. I like that, again, this book has an ability to speak to the younger audience, speak to millennials, not speak around them, not speak down to them. That's my piece.
All right. All right, look, Champions is a thing of... We are going to talk about it after the show. If you guys want to hear more about Champions, if you want to hear a little bit of a debate about the book, stick around to the end of this show. But right now, we heard what happened in the issue. Why don't we move on to Moon Knight #11? Caitlin, take it away.
I'm super sailing!
So Moon Knight, if you guys haven't been reading it, it's been really solid. I think it's honestly one of Marvel's better titles right now. So in the first issue, we went back through Mr. Spectre's original, his origin story, and what led him to becoming Moon Knight as a mercenary, and then later, I'm sure we're going to find out, Moon Knight as a supernatural magic mercenary. But we go through we're switching in and out between his origin story and then him going to rescue Crowley from this interdimensional Egyptian regime where he winds up being imprisoned. He meets the Egyptian goddess who is married to Anubis while he is in prison and is currently trying to figure out how to avoid sacrifice and execution, all while we're flipping in and out of his origin story and his struggle with schizophrenia and his stay in the mental hospital. Something that I've really been enjoying about this, though, is how they're handling his sort of mental health origins and kind of the process he's going through to overcome his schizophrenia and his mental illness. His stay at the mental hospital is actually quite normal. He has a very good relationship with his orderlies and with his doctors. We see him going back for his father's funeral and struggling with that. And then we hear the call of the supernatural and of him going and, of him starting the journey to become Moon Knight. And it's really interesting, this one part that I really enjoyed, which is he's being called into sort of this interdimensional world. And he's sitting there and he's going, who am I? What am I doing? And he hears this call that goes, I know who you are. Come to me, my son. You are the one who will do anything to be cured. And that's tying in a new element to Moon Knight's backstory. Does he become Moon Knight and obtain these powers because he wants to be cured? Because he wants to be normal? We also see that he has some dissociative disorder going on. We see how his family handles it and all of those struggles. And they're represented and handled really well. As somebody who has struggled with mental illness and their mental health, it was something that I really liked, and it didn't take away from the story. And I enjoyed the fact that you don't have to have a murderous, crazy asylum or a murderous, crazy person to have a superhero or even a supervillain or an anti-hero or whatever you want to call Moon Knight, because he's waffled within all these camps with that type of really toxic, unhealthy mental health dialogue.
Very
and
cool.
I like how they've wrapped everything together. It's really good. It's really well written. The art is fantastic. I highly suggest the pickup. Do it. Read it. Read it now.
Awesome. That
I
sounds.
just want to
That
state, we
sounds
did have a donation
awesome.
from E-Man. You guys are awesome.
Yay.
You're awesome too.
Thank you. So that sounds like a great pickup.
Man.
Would you say is this a good jumping on point? Could someone run out and grab this issue, or should they wait for this arc to finish up, or should they?
Actually, if you can get the issue previous and just read these two, you would be on board for this next arc.
Very cool. All right, awesome. So Moon Knight sounds like a definite pickup from Caitlin. Sounds kind of interesting to me too, so I might go out and grab at least the last issue and this issue too. All right, so Benny, we haven't heard from you in a while, so why don't you tell us about?
You want to?
I do, because you're going to be talking about Injustice Ground Zero number 18.
Okay, so Injustice is a weird one, guys. For those of you guys who don't know, it comes out every Tuesday, which is the day before normal comic book releases, which is just weird, because then if you're not looking on Tuesday, it doesn't get put into your pull list typically, but it does come out digitally, and what we have going on right now is Injustice Ground Zero. Now, when this started, I thought it was just going to be like, oh, we're making a lame Bridger comic that just follows Harley. But as it's gone on, it actually started to incorporate the game's plot line and give people who didn't play the game a way to know what happened in the main game. That way you'll understand when you go into Injustice 2's comic book. But what I like about this is they're telling you what's going on in the main storyline of the game at the moment, and they're showing you what Harley and other individuals were doing when they weren't on screen. And this whole thing, because if you played the game, then you know that Harley Quinn didn't have a lot of stuff to do in the main plot. She showed up for Joker, and that was about it. Well, this is what happened afterwards when she went to go free the Joker, deal with the Joker being back. How did she cope with being a good guy and having the Joker in her life? How did she deal with her feelings for Shazam and stuff like that? And the whole story is basically getting really good as of 18 because it's probably, I would say it's the most, out of all the Harley Quinn stuff, and Caitlin can go ahead and vouch or tell me I'm wrong because I might be wrong because I'm sure you've read more Harley Quinn than I have. We've never had, since she's broken off from Joker, we've never had a long explanation of her dealing with getting away from him. It's always been like she either falls immediately back in with him or it's like a 3-issue arc like we just had in Harley Quinn. I think that's the longest we've had up to this point.
Yeah, in the main, in Harley Quinn's main, I guess, DC universe arc, excluding sort of her standalone series, we never really have her for a very long time without the Joker at all, which was what made Injustice Ground Zero for me. It's made it really good because it's giving me all of those Harley things that I really, really wanted. And it actually helps me ground her a bit more for her standalone series. Because when you get into her standalone in New 52, it's almost like, well, I'm done with the Joker.
Well, exactly. And that's what I like
you're
about
not really
Ground Zero.
dealing with it.
Because Ground Zero is all about her dealing with it. Because it was in the comic book, it was really simple for her to move on because the Joker was dead. But now it's like now she's coping with those feelings. She's coping with he initially comes back and she's like, "Oh, Mr. J," and she brings him over, introduces him to the gang, and it's her friends, the new friends that she's made, that is telling her this is not good. You need to get away from this. And she's battling with herself, basically, should she go with him? Should she not go with him? Should she stay a good guy? Because in the Injustice universe, she is officially a good guy. Not like the middle of the road. She is a good guy in that universe. So that's what I'm really liking about it.
That's something that I really like, too, about when you're looking at original, OG Harley and Harley as in the DC universe, is that when she's not with the Joker, she's a good guy or she's an anti-hero. And that is really where she falls, because part of her just really wants to help people. But she does it in such an effed up way. It's really interesting, because when you look at kind of her psyche, that's her motivation for doing most things until she funnels all of that urge and her desire to help and her desire to be productive into Mr. J, and then that's when she becomes incredibly toxic. But when she's funneling it without him, she actually is able to do a lot of good, which I think is really one of the more interesting things about her.
She wants to help Batman and be a good guy, and then when she gets sucked back into the Mr. J thing, suddenly she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go blow up the Watchtower. That'll be fun," and you're like, "Oh, she's back." So it's really interesting to see this.
Because she wants to help and she wants to do what's fun, and everything is lighthearted to her. So when she teams up with Wonder Woman or when she's hanging out with Batman, she's like, "These are my new best friends."
Yeah, exactly.
That's how she thinks.
So it's really good. I'm wrapping up. Don't worry, Tiffany. I know you're trying to. It's basically overall, Ground Zero, in my opinion, started out very slow, and I didn't like how it started at all because it was very obvious, we're just continuing the brand. as of now with 18, and I'd say probably from like 12 onward, it got really good as it tied directly into the current plot lines, started bringing everything together. And there's a lot of hints as to what's going to happen with Injustice 2, which is what I'll end my point with, that the current thought process that we all have, because if you played the game, you know that Shazam does die. That's not a spoiler. It's been known for 4 years. Well, they're really hyping up that Harley's having a hard time being a good guy now. So she's like, I want, case in point, she wanted to kill Damian, but her gang was like, no, you're a good guy. Stop doing this. So and now they've really hyped up her relationship with Shazam and the potential that could have been there. So once he dies, which is in 2 issues, because they say it in the solicits, I have a feeling that's going to be the turning point, which is going to make her kind of be like that, I'm going to be a good guy, but in my own way, because if you watch the Injustice 2 trailer, they're stating that Batman is letting his old allies do whatever they want, and it shows Harley Quinn. So I have a feeling that's the turning point, and that's what we're building up to right now.
Very cool. That's like, I love this initiative. I love the cross promotion. I love the fact that DC's thinking multimedia with this. It's awesome. So guys, obviously you can tell Benny's very excited about the Injustice universe. So you guys should go out, grab that. It's digital. It's easy to keep. You don't have to worry about storing it in a box or anything like that. So before we go over to the next comic, I know we just got a subscriber, Rob.
Rob, do your thing.
To Twitch Prime.
Rob.
Spoon!
Thanks.
That was a delayed one.
That's X to Max Landy 0817. Just subscribe to Twitch Prime. All right. So, Rob, actually, I'm glad that you spoke up and you splooged for us because Old Man Logan number 17, sir.
Dude, man. Like Jeff Lemire's whole Old Man Logan thing is it's like it's an adventure. Like it's crazy. This one continues the ongoing theme of him just kind of being like thrust back and forth between really between the wasteland of the Old Man Logan universe and like the modern day. But I don't know, is it okay? So maybe somebody can help me clear this up. Maybe it's like a jolt through time or something along those lines. Yeah. Because in one instance he is alongside
Grandis Phantom.
Splooge! Grandis Phantom, thank you so much for subbing. In one moment he is in the future with Alpha Flight, and apparently their ship's been decimated. Everybody but Puck is dead. And then they're fighting against the Brood. But then he's being thrown back into the Wastelands, where it kind of follows up and leads into what eventually becomes Hickman's tie-in for the Fantastic Four, where it's like Kane the Conqueror took, Banner Jr., took the son of Hulk that Old Man Logan had taken at the end of the Mark Millar Old Man Logan story. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly. This seems like this is going to be one of those things where it won't really make sense until like the whole thing is done.
Yeah, it felt to me like they were trying to be purposely confusing to put you in Logan's headspace.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it does.
With this issue, I really thought that he was jumping back and forth between all of these different time periods, and then to the future of the Conqueror of the Wastelands, and it's kind of funny because Logan keeps going back through and going, I remember this, wait, I don't remember this. And I think his moment of I don't remember this is going to be the key for him to probably undo what is going to lead up to that moment. Well, that's kind of what I thought was happening.
The other half of this is to also remember, too, he could be jumping back and forth between 2 alternate futures, neither of which happened. Because remember, or it's the alternate future of his own reality, then the alternate future of, I don't know, something else. Like, because that's what seems to be happening. And the reason why I say that is you've got a future where, the whatever it is, Alpha Flight are all dead. And then you've got a future where maybe the Alpha Flight thing's going on at the moment, but then you have the future where the Wasteland happens. But in that future, Jean Grey's alive. Remember, she was one of the mutants that he killed in the original Old Man Logan story. But she's alive there.
Cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, what a reveal!
Dude,
and so
I was like, you gotta leave me like that.
Yeah, dude, he's like Jeannie, and I was like, oh my god! So it's like she's and the whole get up, like the way she looks, she's like a villain, like she's a bad guy, And so I don't know how all that ties together, but it is man, it's a roller coaster, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Maybe it'll go back to the other universe from the Dark Apocalypse world that was in X-Force when Wolverine led it, and we had a version of Wolverine that was Apocalypse, and he was that way because Jeannie died. Maybe that all ties together.
Mm-hmm.
They are pulling from lots of places.
They are. All I know is throughout this whole thing, Old Man Logan, Rob has been a huge fan of this. I know many of the cast of the Pull have been huge fans of this. So if you're not reading this book and you trust what Rob has to say, go out, grab it. But now, Joel, a classic Joel book, if that's a thing. Green Arrow number 16.
Man, you're not kidding when you said that this was a classic issue for Joel
Hold
of
on,
Green
shut
Arrow.
up, Joel. All right, you can go.
Because it really was. There's an amazing bit where Ollie gives a speech about why he doesn't kill, and I really had to avoid the temptation to crop out that picture and a picture of the show and put them side by side. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to invite that into my life. But this was cool. This was wrapping up everything with the Vice Squad. They kind of put a nice little bit in there about, over-militarized police forces and everything. I thought that was a nice little touch. We get to see Emiko as Red Arrow. And it's funny, Green Arrow, he's not really warming up to the idea of calling her that yet. He's like, but I've called you Emiko all this time. You're my sister. What, I got to give you a code name now? You haven't had one.
He has to give her a code name so it matches into the TV show. Oh, burn on the TV show. All right, keep going.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, you're stealing my thunder. That's usually my thing. But yeah, I mean, this one was refreshing. It felt good. We also got to see a nice little bit of evolution of the Oliver Queen character, where he trusts Westberg. He trusts the cop that he's made friends with, who in turn helps him defeat the dirty cops. It's a nice whole story about how, the only thing that can defeat dirty cops is good cops. And, he actually reveals his identity to this guy. And you're like, wow, what a big amount of growth. Ollie, a guy who's always railed against the man in authority, is now trusting a cop so much to give him his secret identity. And then it all goes to shit, because of course it does, because this is the penultimate issue. So of course It can't be a happy ending yet. But I like to see where this is going. I'm right back into this one. This is good. Percy is doing some cool shit with my favorite hero.
All right, so would you say this is a good place for people to jump on if they're not already?
Yeah, I'd say wait for this to be done, because there's a lot of story going on in this one. That's my one problem with Emerald Outlaw. It's spinning a lot of plates at once. You got the stuff with Merlin and
Isn't this in the middle of the Emerald Outlaw? Is not even like a true new story. It's the current path that everything has been going. It's like what? It's almost like Outsiders War, where it's just one giant story.
It is. It really is, because you got stuff with Broderick. You got stuff with the Trumpian mayor. You got stuff with the Vice Squad and his sister. It's a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And it's all one big plot that's been happening. And I'm hoping the payoff is as good as Outsiders War.
Same.
All right. Well, there you go. So either hold off if haven't gotten into it just yet. Wait for this to finish up. Or if you're looking for something, go back, grab the rest of the issues, grab them digitally, whatever you want to do. You can catch up on this and get a whole bunch of Green Arrow awesomeness. But okay, so let's go back and we'll go to kind of another area of DC, namely the Young Animal imprint, with Shade the Changing Girl number 5. Caitlin?
So, Shade the Changing Girl is really trippy. I won't...
I had to stop reading it because of that.
Because it was too trippy.
It was. I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I give up. I quit.
I guess a lot like Shade originally was. At least it's keeping to its origins. But it is a really trippy series. Basically, this avian woman from Planet Meta, or Dimension Meta, from the Meta Dimension, steals a jacket that was owned by Rock Shade, who had a run in the 80s and 90s that was very weird and kind of delved into a lot of political issues while being very artsy and poetic. And Shade the Changing Girl is reflecting that a little bit, but with a lot more of its own story as opposed to tackling a bunch of different issues. So this avian woman from the Meta Dimension steals the original Rock Shade's Madness Vest. And between the Meta Dimension and Earth is this place called the Area of Madness.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, and it's why people on Earth are so freaking weird, don't you know? So she takes the Madness Vest, she goes to Earth, and she winds up possessing the body of a young teenager who, ironically enough, is a shady bitch herself. So she takes over this body of this horrible teenage girl who has done everything from beat the crap out of her own friends to trying to drown someone.
Oh, no.
I know, it's kind of weird. And she's trying to, I guess, explore Earth in the same way that Rock Shade did, but she can't get home. Meanwhile, on Meta, apparently the vest that she stole was being militarized in order to break through the madness barrier and be able to take over and explore and colonize other planets. Ooh. So now the people in the Meta Dimension are trying to get to Earth and get to her so that they can regain control of the Madness Vest and hopefully militarize it. So that's kind of what's going on with Shade the Changing Room.
Very cool.
And
very
I
cool.
have a question about Young Animal.
It's good.
Quick,
it's just really trippy and really weird. Definitely not going to be for everybody.
I know Tiffany and Caitlin can both answer this one probably, but Young Animal is in the DC universe proper, isn't it? Because Batman's in Mother Panic.
Yes. Yeah, that's what's so weird about it.
Right, it's like, why is it a separate imprint then? Because I'm assuming the Wildstorm one will be in the Wildstorm universe.
You know,
until they need it.
I think part of it is they're just trying to rebrand it. I mean, like things like Doom Patrol switch between DC and Vertigo, so I think they're just like, it is DC, but like we're gonna put this imprint on it because if you're looking for books that are similar to this, it'll be easier to find them because they're in this, not the same vein, but like they are more to the indie side of a DC book. So I think that's why they've probably done that. Also because then they can say that Gerard Way, frontrunner of My Chemical Romance, helped to create the Young Animal imprint, so they can try to bring in that audience too.
I think it can. Yeah, I just usually explain it as it's DC's indie runs.
Yeah.
So if it has an indie feel, that's where it goes.
That they don't want to give to Vertigo because they're not really sure what they're doing with that at the moment.
Yeah,
it's a cool idea.
Made a bunch of those, and just that's what's happening with Vertigo.
Yeah. Benny, why don't we talk about Nightwing number 14?
So, this is the first arc, which is Bloodhaven. And I've actually... Rob's muted, it doesn't know, so I'm just going to let him keep doing that.
Benny, hold on 1 second. I want to throw this out there real quick. I was reading this story. 3 pages.
I keep dropping my speakers.
3 pages from finishing. Hey, Rob, here's the ending to the story. Really, Benny?
That's a Benny move.
That's a Benny move.
Well, that means that he was either excited about it or he didn't care for it, and we're going to find out all about that.
Well, no, the ending is amazing, because everyone told me the ending was like a good cliffhanger. I didn't know Rob even read Nightwing, never mind was reading it at that exact moment. So
I didn't know either. I didn't think he read it.
See?
So, what's going on?
Okay, so basically we had a bunch of great storylines to start, and then we had the official he's moving back to Bloodhaven storyline. Which isn't horrendous, but I didn't like it that much. Like, it wasn't like you all have to go read Bloodhaven, which is what this was the conclusion to.
It was low-key.
It was very low-key. It was he showed up in Bloodhaven, didn't know what he was doing, found a group of villains who fled Gotham because they were like, oh, if we do it here, Batman's never going to give us a second chance. They went to Bloodhaven to get a second chance at their lives. And so then it was, suddenly they get accused of doing various crimes. Nightwing goes out to figure out what's going on. It was very low-key. It wasn't that exciting of a storyline. It was okay. If you're looking for classic Nightwing, I felt like it fell more in that than more of the epicness that we've had recently. Yeah. But the cliffhanger in the whole thing, and it's not really a cliffhanger, it's the little teaser tag. We have an individual wearing the black and red outfit who sees Nightwing swinging away, and he goes, so he's going to stay in Bloodhaven. There can only be one me. Which has then led to me and Rob going, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. Now, having said that, I think it's Damian Wayne from Injustice.
That'd be a hell of a crossover if they did that.
If they did that, that would officially be stating, like, Injustice is in the proper multiverse. Because we've never had true confirmation outside of a fun little thing in Convergence.
In Convergence, yeah.
Right.
Because Lord knows Injustice makes them a lot of money, so they'd be silly not to canonize it at some point.
Well, I mean, they've canonized everything else to like within its own timelines and stuff like that. That does well. I mean, Red Sun has a multiversal thing that they can bring in.
Batman Beyond.
Yeah, Batman Beyond's got its own little world.
So is this a recommend for you, Benny?
No, because if you're looking for classic Nightwing, yes. If you're looking for what Nightwing's been doing, which I felt was a bit more epic and being a lot more, adventurous, then yes, then don't get it because that's not what this story is. But this is classic. Hey, I'm going to go hit a low-key kind of mystery kind of thing.
All right. Do you think the next issue is going to pick up with the excitement?
Especially if it's Damian Wayne from Injustice. That would be amazing.
All right. Well, there you have it. We're going to round this out with one more book. And I know this is one that people are either fans of or not huge fans of. So, Rob, why don't you talk to us about Green Lanterns number 16?
Since I didn't read this one, I'm going to mute myself and go pee.
Okay.
Man, dude, Green Lanterns is solid. I feel like Sam Humphrey's run of Green Lanterns is well charted out and well structured. You can always imagine it like one of those like a brainstorming thing, like the little branch off things where he's like, okay, let's introduce the Green Lanterns. Let's show people what Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz are about, what Green Lanterns do. Okay, now we have Frank Leminski. Let's show them what all the Lantern Corps are. Now, let's go through each one individually. That's almost what it feels like. Because we had, the Phantom Lantern, here's what they all do, here's what they all capable of, here's how they function. Now we're focusing on the Sinestro Corps. And it's really cool the way he's integrating it. Because apparently what the Sinestro Corps has done is what seems to be happening is, I don't know if it's the Parallax entity or if it's just someone with a Sinestro Corps ring, whatever the case is, like they're infiltrating computer systems across the world and just like broadcasting people with yellow fear.
Oh shit!
And so they're losing their shit, and like Alfred attacks Batman and so on and so forth. But it's really, really cool because it's like a tour of the Green Lantern mythos, which is exactly what it was billed as. It was billed as, hey, if you never read Jeff Johns' 10-year run, then read this, and you'll be able to just go through and learn about all the different Lantern Corps and so on. And it's doing that. It's a new person's guide to the Green Lanterns. I would say read Phantom Lantern first. But I would say this one's definitely one that I would suggest picking up, especially if you wanted to see these two guys get together. If you want to see like Batman and you want to see Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz team up, it's really a really enjoyable thing. It's just them. There's nobody else. It's just them. So
that's awesome. So it sounds like you're digging it. You're digging the the Green Lantern. You're into it, huh? You like it?
Yeah. It's really solid. It's really enjoyable.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up all the comics for this week, guys. So really, that's it for us today on the poll. But guys, before we head out, why don't you tell us where they can find you guys and what you have coming out this week? Benny, why don't we start with you?
I'm the Comicstorian. Just look that up. That's basically it. I got everything locked down.
What do you got going on? What do you got going out this week?
I got videos coming out.
Nice, awesome.
Here, I'll pull up my schedule. Hold on. Okay, so apparently tomorrow I have Suicide Squad, the story where Harley Quinn goes sane. On Saturday we have Ultimate Spider-Man and Deadpool versus Madcap. On Sunday is Minimum Carnage. On Monday is a story that I titled Batman Fucks Catwoman, not the real title,
but just so you remember.
Just so I remember what story to go over, that's the one.
Gotcha. Nice. So it sounds like an action-packed week over on Comicstorian. Bob, what do you got going on over on Comics Explained?
Tomorrow is Injustice. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Tomorrow is Injustice. Right. I want to say that Sunday is Captain America: The Oath. And I don't remember what the other one is. And then Monday is more of Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man.
Awesome. Joel, where can we find you? What you got coming out?
Well, if you find me over on the Cape Joel channel, I review a bunch of the new issues that came out this week.
What's Caitlin doing?
You can also listen to the brand new episode of the Comic Multiverse. We have some killer pictures in there for an X-Men show if they ever decided to make it. And hey, if you head on over to the Weekly Pull channel, which you should because it's where this show is archived, you can also listen to the brand new episode of Cape TV that myself and Matt do. Yeah, I have a show over there now. It's pretty good. It's getting some good feedback.
For the record, all of you guys wondering why I keep saying Shut Up Joel, we have two shirts coming out. There's the official Weekly Pull one, and the other shirt is the Shut Up Joel shirt.
I'm finally shirt famous.
Mm-hmm.
You did it, Joel. You lived your dream.
It finally happened.
All right, Caitlin. If anybody wants to know, those shirts will be available post the convention. We're gonna debut them there first.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Caitlin, where can we find you, and what do you got coming out?
So you can find me on my channel at That Sea Monster, spelled with a C, or you can find me on Twitter under the same handle and Instagram under the same handle. Pretty much everything with that same handle. And I've got live streams called Bedtime Stories, where it's just a good old-fashioned comic book stitch and bitch. And I talk to you guys in the chat, you talk to me, and we just debate all night long about comics, pop culture, or whatever you guys want to talk about. We're working on getting a movie night together, so that'll be fun. And I just put up my Harley Quinn number 13 video where I talk all about my theories on the Three Jokers. So if you guys want to go check that out, that's over on my chancel.
Awesome. Meanwhile, if you want to see any more of me, great, I didn't talk much about comics today, you can head over to Comic Pop, where we got a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on. But most importantly, Ethan returns to us in back issues in Final Nights.
Also, don't forget, there is an official Weekly Poll Discord, which has been linked nonstop with Moby begging for us to promote it. But Rob, me, Comic Pop, everyone hangs out in there periodically. But if you want to chat with us between the shows, then definitely check those out.
Absolutely. Yes. But otherwise, guys, we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to come back every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the weekly poll, where they talk about all the stuff that's going on in the comic book world, news, and so certain pop culture items as well. And then Thursdays every week for the poll around 6 p.m. Eastern as well. We'll see you guys next time.